at bigtalker.live.
Hey everyone, Ben Hawkins here with Cross Country Mortgage. Rates are still at historic lows, and there has never been a better time to purchase your dream home or refinance your existing. With over 300 loan products including conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, renovation, and jumbo, we are certain we have the right loan product for you and your family. Call me today to be pre-qualified to make the offer on your next dream home. 910-352-3373 or visit my website at lendwithben.com.
No lie, I'm with K.O. Davis from Coast to Coast Tree Service, and we're getting coffee on the way to a tree job. Overheard some guy talking.
Man, ain't no jobs, ain't nobody hiring.
We look over, he's a big old boy, you know, tattoos up both arms. K.O. ain't afraid to speak up. He's like, hey man, I got plenty of tree work, $17.50 an hour right now. Guy was like,
no man, I ain't looking that kind of work.
Then the coffee girl goes,
I have a skinny mocha half-calf latte for Bear.
K.O.'s Coast to Coast Tree Service is paying top dollar for working men. Call 233-2816 and visit KOTrees.com.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. 2 people are facing charges after leading law enforcement officers on a chase through several counties overnight. According to the Sampson County Sheriff's Office, a blue box truck was first reported stolen Tuesday. Last night, deputies spotted the stolen vehicle and tried to stop it. Officers pursued the truck into Pender and Columbus counties. The suspect then drove into Bladen County and pulled into the driveway of a home. A man and woman were arrested. We are working to learn more details. Now an update to a story regarding an effort to ban nude bathing at a local beach. Last night, Topsail Beach's town attorney shared ordinances from other beach towns and the state's general statute on indecent exposure. Only Commissioner Tim Zizak participated in the discussion with the attorney. After a long silence, the commissioners made their decision not to move forward with the ordinance. North Carolina now has at least 10 confirmed cases of monkeypox. In New Hanover County, health officials are encouraging you to know the signs and symptoms of the rare disease. Monkeypox symptoms include fever, muscle aches, chills, and a rash on the face and body, including inside the mouth. The disease can be spread through person-to-person direct contact with the infectious rash, scabs, or body fluids. It's rarely fatal, but New Hanover County's pandemic operations team manager says the bumps can be painful and take 2 to 4 weeks to heal. And in Pender County, a woman's lifelong dream has finally become an artful reality. Clara Sue Sullivan is a self-taught artist. She's 83 years old and has always wanted to have a formal showing of her artwork. Sullivan's hospice care team made the dream possible at the Pender County Library. Growing up, art was an expensive hobby her family couldn't really afford, but a teacher encouraged her not to give up. She's encouraging others to follow that same message. For more on these stories, you can head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with your Storm Track 3 forecast. Get ready for a bit of an unsettled afternoon in the Cape Fear. High temperatures won't be as hot as it was on Wednesday, climbing into the upper 80s to near 90 away from the coast. Middle 80s for those coastal areas later this afternoon, with our chances for showers and storms increasing for the second half of the day throughout the overnight hours as well, as our temperatures fall down to the middle and the upper 70s, remaining warm and muggy. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by Two Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to twomenandatruck.com. twomenandatruck.com.
Teachers and parents, the North Carolina Symphony is here to support you as you carry on the education of your children and students. Take your kids on a free virtual field trip to the Symphony with a virtual education concert and companion student book. Go on a virtual journey to learn what makes music music, with music by William Grant Still, Beethoven, Brahms, and more. Access the free video and student book with password 1932 at ncsymphony.org/virtual.
Melissa from Michigan. I work an extra part-time job serving lunch at my child's school, but I still can't afford to put food on our table.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Justin Humphreys from the Humphreys Law Firm on Eastwood Road. Tune in Thursdays from 6 to 7 p.m. for Objection to the Form, covering civil litigation, real estate issues, and intellectual property. That's Objection to the Form, Thursdays 6 to 7 p.m. right here on the Big Talker 106.7 FM.
Suddenly it feels like Monday in here at the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad. Oh my goodness. Welcome back. There is no other place like this. Please visit our website at bigtalker.live. Download the app for Android and iOS devices. And maybe you can send us an email with any comments, questions, concerns, compliments, or critiques you may have, because we cannot improve without your feedback on the Asylum. Heck of a gig last night. Capped off with the Brewer Brothers, I'm not going to get her name right, Delia Stanley. Had to hop in. She was hosting and then had to fill in a little time. That was awesome. Great show all the way around. Our friends CB Johnson, her normal host, CB and Emily were away. Emily was on Bald Head, and I'm not sure where... I think CB is MIA at the moment. Which, you know, we all need a vacation and a break. If y'all haven't had a chance, please, you know, go visit the Voice and Pen on Facebook and YouTube and the website, voiceandpen.com. Sorry, voiceandthepen.com. And meet some of your neighbors, you know. These are some songwriters that live right around and, you know, they could use a little work. So, you know, if you need a hostess for your restaurant, I'm kidding. Goodness, y'all gonna take it seriously, and I'm gonna find all kind of hate mail in my... Nah, I'm kidding. Look, you want hate mail, let's go to Texas, right? Like, there are times I think that the United States should have greater border control from state to state than we do from country to country, all right? Now, here's an example why. A Texas man came to North Carolina. Let's see what he did. This is coming out of News 13 in Myrtle Beach. Because everybody in North Carolina was like, good Lord, you're some horrible human beings. I thought I saw Maureen Wirtz and Mike Andrews. Updated recently on the 8th, police man arrested after stealing 4 cars, crashing twice during high-speed chase in North Carolina. Yeah, the Texas man came here and acted a damn fool. A Texas man is facing numerous charges after an hours-long chase through Charlotte ended in a crash Wednesday. Charlotte-Mecklenburg police officials identified the subject as 26-year-old Tyler Harding of Elgin, Texas, and said he was new to the Charlotte area. Harding is accused of stealing 4 vehicles Wednesday while fleeing from police in a chase that caused 2 crashes. Go home. I saw a car come flying at me from the other direction and he swerved, said Carrie Ann Curtis, a witness. Police said the incident started as a residential breaking and entering call. Harding allegedly sped away from officers in a Jeep. From there, police said Harding stole 3 additional vehicles, including a white pickup truck, a gold sedan, and a black Infiniti SUV. While fleeing from authorities, Harding slammed into 2 vehicles. No one was seriously injured. He came right across us, hit another truck, another witness told Queen City News. The second crash ended the pursuit in front of the Shell gas station at the intersection of South Boulevard and East Boulevard. Original naming there, guys. South Boulevard, East Boulevard. I mean, what do you do for in between? You got all your cardinal points. Never mind. After the 90-minute car chase, Harding exited his vehicle and surrendered to police after he was released from the hospital. He was charged with 4 counts of vehicle theft, 2 counts of felony hit and run, possession of a stolen vehicle, felony flee to elude, and burglary. He was also issued numerous traffic citations. You ran a stop sign. Police also identified 28-year-old Krista Brooke Harding as Tyler Harding's passenger at some point in the pursuit. She was charged with possession of a stolen vehicle. On Wednesday, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department officials said officers didn't engage with him for some time because of policy and the fact they had to weigh in on the risks to the public. The Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department Police Chief Jennings released the following statement in part, saying, "This is absolutely appalling that someone would have this much disregard for the general public. The Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department pursuit policy prohibited us from chasing this suspect up until the point when the suspect carjacked the last vehicle, not knowing if an abduction had taken place. In these situations, police are in a no-win situation. I am proud of our Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department response in providing closure without serious injury." Yeah, maybe we just shouldn't export anything Texas. Just stay there. Just stay there. Horrible human being. And that's the other thing outside, dude. This annoys the hell out of me. Anybody standing outside with a cardboard sign saying "give me money" should be arrested and thrown into the deepest pit possible. Especially the guy that shows up, he's like, "New to Wilmington, please give me money because I am a sorry sack of crap who isn't willing to do anything to pay his own bills." But we tolerate it for some reason. I like that one church decided that instead of saying, "hey, stop that," they put up a big cordon and had to repair because, these morons that have no other job but to be a menace to the rest of us, they're pacing and shuffling because they're too lazy to even pick up their feet when they flip and walk. They have ground away the grass in front of the church, and the church was like, "this ain't gonna fly." Put a big cordon around there, laid down new sod, and was like, "stay off the grass." I think that should be done everywhere. Right? Big cordon areas, if you can't walk on the sidewalk, if you can't pick up your feet when you walk, you lazy piece of crap. I'm telling you, you want us to give you money because you're new to the area? Why don't you go to the unemployment joint and say, "hey, look, I'm willing to fold boxes or wash dishes or mop floors. Because goodness knows I'm built strong enough to stand in 90-degree heat and beg for money." I mean, at least do a flip. Do something. You want free money, you got to earn it. If you don't have a marketable skill, that's not my fault. That's not my problem. That's not anybody. That's your problem. That's a you problem. And there's lots of ways that you can get that help, but you're not going to get it standing on the street corner looking at me like I owe you something. You can just light yourself on fire right there and I'll give you a nickel. That's worth something. That was entertaining. But if you don't have a marketable skill, it doesn't matter where the hell you go. Coming here where it's more expensive to live than it is in, say, Texas or Oklahoma, right? I'm sorry you weren't happy where you were, but doesn't mean you have the right to come here and, bring misery to the rest of us. "I'm sorry, I'm broke and unemployable. Please give me money because I'm a worthless piece of crap. I can't even lift my feet up, which is why there's no grass left here where I sit here and pace for hours on a day." But you got Ray-Ban sunglasses. I don't know how that happened. I mean, there has been, I should say, investigative reports on panhandlers, to find out that they're driving really nice cars and living in really nice houses because people are giving them almost $1,000 a day in cash. Now, granted, that operation had 3 or 4 people operating together. Right? And at the end of the day, they would all get into their, nice little slick SUV and roll back to their East End home. Paid for by panhandlers. I'm not saying that that's what's happening now, but still, that's not the way to do it. There are plenty of resources to get you the assistance you need. They do not work street corners. Therefore, in my opinion, If you are on a street corner holding a sign saying, "Give me money," we should be allowed to do things to you for that money. Or at least demand some sort of entertainment or something. Right? I mean, remember back in the 80s when the Eagles was doing their Hotel California tour, and it was the first tour where tickets were $100 or more. Everybody lost their mind. And it's like, you better give me $100 worth of show. I mean, back then, tickets were $20, $25 for a concert, and kids were working hard to make that kind of money. For $100, man, we were expecting to either, join in with the band, maybe share some of the drugs, something. That's a pretty steep price. Well, if you think about it, this jackhole standing out there saying, "I'm new to the area and I have no money and nowhere to live. Please give me money, give me your money because I'm a worthless sack of crap." Well, why did you come here if you didn't have a plan? We see that on Facebook Marketplace, family looking for a place to live because we left our home and wherever. Now, I get it if you've lost your job, right? Maybe you should do your applications and such before you move. Because if you don't have a plan and you just pop up in another city, whoops. Right? I mean, that's how an adult would do it. But I'm guessing a lot of these 40-year-old people that show up in Wilmington saying, "I'm new to the area, I have no job and nowhere to live," the education system was not beneficial to them. Or they did not take advantage of those opportunities presented to them. So please, don't ever approach my car and ask me for money. Don't do it downtown. If you do it downtown, I will embarrass the hell out of you like I did the other day trying to get to a gig, and the guy's like, "Hey, man, you got $1?" I said, "Yeah, I got $1. I just earned it after working for 3 hours. What do you got?" "You let me have $1. "For what?" "Well, man, I need $1, man. I'm hungry." "I'm hungry, too. That's why I did the work, so I got the money in my pocket so I can go eat. And put gas in my car, and not stand here on a street corner begging everybody who walks by for $1 or a dime. Get the hell off of me." And you can't say it's a race thing. You can't say it's a culture thing. Right? These doors have all been blown away, man. You can be a football star or you can be a president. The options are endless. But to come up to me and ask me for money, and I'm sitting here scratching the ground trying to make my money, get off of me. You're lucky I didn't turn violent. And the thing is, some people are like, "Yeah, there's this, it could be a heartbreaking, sob story." Everybody got a sob story. Everybody got a story that can make you sob. Just depends on how you twist it, how you milk it, and how you handle it. And again, the only sage advice my father ever gave me was develop a marketable skill. At least do that. You don't have to be smart. You don't have to be an author. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be rich. But if you have a marketable skill, you'll never have to beg for anything. And that's probably the greatest failure of being a human being on this planet, is begging for anything. That means you failed your own plan. Not saying that all plans are perfect or that you should execute the plan, whatever, but when things happen, you adapt, you adjust. If you can't do that, get off of me. Not my responsibility to fix your problem. Now, if I can help in a situation that helps both of us, I'm down for that. But if you're just wanting free money because why? And you're going to give me nothing for it, no backflips, nothing? Come on now. Earn that money. Got a Florida man. This one being reported. This is funny. So Myrtle Beach reported on a Charlotte story in North Carolina. The News and Observer is going to report on a story in Florida. It's amazing how all this clickbait works. Anyway, Mark Price from the News and Observer talking about a suspect losing his pants in a manhunt, continues his escape while naked. Florida cops say. A manhunt in North Florida took an odd turn when the suspect jumped in the Suwannee River lost his pants and continued his hours-long flight while naked, according to the Suwannee County Sheriff's Office. It happened Saturday, July 2, a couple weeks ago. The 50-year-old subject, oh my goodness. A 50-year-old suspect. Obviously, we're not learning much. He was wanted for showing up at someone's home in Brantford and refusing to leave. The sheriff's office said in a news release, Brantford is 85 miles southwest of Jacksonville. Jacksonville, Florida, that is, for you North Carolina people that are like, yeah, man, I've been there. 85 miles southwest of Jacksonville sounds a lot like Wilmington or Leland. No, I'm kidding. 2 deputies arrived at the rural home on 73rd Place to find the suspect had taken off running while only wearing a pair of shorts, officials said. Deputy Pete Marola gave chase until the suspect jumped in the river and began swimming away towards a floating dock and then hid under it. Brilliant. Deputy Larson Zimmerman soon joined Deputy Marola, and the pair ordered him to come out, which he did, only to swim away again as the suspect was swimming away. He lost his shorts and was now skinny dipping in the river until he came to a large U-shaped dock and hid beneath it. The deputies played hide and seek, whack-a-mole, whatever, with the suspect for a couple of hours as he appeared and disappeared under the dock. Eventually, he decided to make a break for it and began swimming across the river to the other side, but Zimmerman, with the assistance of the dock owner, chased after him in the dock owner's boat. They captured him on the other riverbank. Photos shared by the sheriff's office on Facebook shows the suspect was quickly given a life preserver and a towel. The suspect, who lives in Gainesville, was charged with resisting arrest without violence and failure to appear in court in connection with the 2021 case that involved driving while his license was suspended. So I'm guessing either bath salt, crack, or something caused this 50-year-old to just completely bonkers. Or it's just the way you celebrate your 50th birthday party, I guess. I don't know. It's not how I did it. But I don't have a Suwannee River to go running and skinny dipping through. At first, I thought this was an Uvalde update, but it's not. Ben Hooper from UPI talking about a loose pig visits Illinois high school, and it's an actual swine. Officials at an Illinois high school said a loose pig has taken up residence on campus and thus far managed to evade all attempts at capture. I guess that's the other way around. Mount Vernon Township High School in Jefferson County said in its Facebook page that the pig wandered onto the campus Thursday and took a tour of the school's exterior while officials attempted to capture it. The school contacted the local animal shelter for assistance, but the pig proved to be too elusive for both school employees and shelter personnel. The pig was last seen in the bean field next to the school Thursday evening. The Facebook post said officials plan to continue attempting to capture the pig and return it home. I'm thinking what y'all need to do is get like one of them big, massive charcoal smoker things, like what they make brisket and ribs and pork shoulders and that kind of thing, right? That'll get him to think about it. Hey, homie. That would be one interesting pig right there. Oh. Why did you fail? Oh, looks like we're working again. Yeah, see, that's good. All right. Some of that's working, some of it's not. It just looks wrong. But you're being silly. That's fine. That's YouTube being broken. We're going to have some more news here in a minute, and I'm hoping my guest gets his invitation and decides to join us here in a minute. Because, getting some of this news unpacked is worrisome. Because people trying to buy houses right now, 9.com.au. Emily Power, I'm guessing this is an Australian site talking about stuff in Ohio. And if you ever were fetished in any way, 2 terrifying rooms in this Ohio house failed to deter the buyer. That's even more scary. This property presents as warm and welcoming, but 2 rooms inside are anything but. You ready for this? Buyers that open for inspections would have been stunned to find terrifying twin jail cells on the floor plan, and they are unavoidable, built into the home between the kitchen and the living room. So if you have unruly kids and need a new way of doing timeout, this one's built in. The 4-bedroom house is on the market in the United States for $275,000. Wow. Over $250,000, and a new owner has recently swooped. The listing in the town of Salina in Ohio sparked a viral sensation on TikTok, and despite the sinister feature, the real estate agent's phone rang hot with prospective buyers. Yeah, because there's no homes right now. According to the New York Post, the advertisements from Superior Plus Realtor seems normal, with a living room adorned by a chandelier, a blue kitchen, an indoor pool, and a games room, until you come across rolling images of side-by-side authentic jail cells with iron bars, narrow bunk beds, and tiled floors. The cells once held prisoners in Allen County Jail, including the Depression-era gangster John Dillinger, who was played by Johnny Depp in the 2000 movie about his life, Public Enemy. The listing agent, Ryan Stackhouse, told the Post the original owner of this home was a big John Dillinger enthusiast, and he was able to purchase these jail cells that Dillinger was allegedly held in. The listing makes no mention of the jail cells, which were incorporated into the structure after the vendor bought them in 1972, and so will not be journeying to the vendor's next property, but the agent has been open to discussing them, and the house has been snatched up going under contract. The photos also don't try to hide the cells, showing plenty of shocking detail. No, I think that's totally legit. Here's your opportunity to own a piece of Salina history. Entertain your guests with the indoor swimming pool, sauna, and full bar area. Serious, pre-approved buyers only. Dillinger was shot dead in 1933 by the FBI after escaping a month earlier, allegedly from those same jail cells in Allen County. He robbed several banks and committed murders during the spree. Stackhouse told the Post the property was built as a party house. The games room includes a bar, booths, and a pinball machine, so those cells might come in handy one day as a drunk tank. I still think it's perfect for timeout for your children, right? They start acting up and throw the board and playing Monopoly, and they throw away all the pieces and run away crying. And it's like, okay, timeout. And you got a timeout A and a timeout B, and there's no hiding, right? It's not like you can go in there and read a book under a cover and sulk and hide and whatever. No, you're stuck. You is stuck, baby. All right. That was some fun news. Well, I'm going to see if I can get my guest back on here. Oh, they are taking. Bebop-a-debop. That's what I'm trying to say right there. We will be right back after these messages on the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad. Don't go nowhere, we will be right back.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. 2 people are facing charges after leading law enforcement officers on a chase through several counties overnight. According to the Sampson County Sheriff's Office, a blue box truck was first reported stolen Tuesday. Last night, deputies spotted the stolen vehicle and tried to stop it. Officers pursued the truck into Pender and Columbus counties. The suspect then drove into Bladen County and pulled into the driveway of a home. A man and woman were arrested. We are working to learn more details. Now an update to a story regarding an effort to ban nude bathing at a local beach. Last night, Topsail Beach's town attorney shared ordinances from other beach towns and the state's general statute on indecent exposure. Only Commissioner Tim Zizak participated in the discussion with the attorney. After a long silence, the commissioners made their decision not to move forward with the ordinance. North Carolina now has at least 10 confirmed cases of monkeypox. In New Hanover County, health officials are encouraging you to know the signs and symptoms of the rare disease. Monkeypox symptoms include fever, muscle aches, chills, and a rash on the face and body, including inside the mouth. The disease can be spread through person-to-person direct contact with the infectious rash, scabs, or body fluids. It's rarely fatal, but New Hanover County's pandemic operations team manager says the bumps can be painful and take 2 to 4 weeks to heal. And in Pender County, a woman's lifelong dream has finally become an artful reality. Clara Sue Sullivan is a self-taught artist. She's 83 years old and has always wanted to have a formal showing of her artwork. Sullivan's hospice care team made the dream possible at the Pender County Library. Growing up, art was an expensive hobby her family couldn't really afford, but a teacher encouraged her not to give up. She's encouraging others to follow that same message. For more on these stories, you can head over to wwaytv3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with your Storm Track 3 forecast. Get ready for a bit of an unsettled afternoon in the Cape Fear. High temperatures won't be as hot as it was on Wednesday, climbing into the upper 80s to near 90 away from the coast. Middle 80s for those coastal areas later this afternoon, with our chances for showers and storms increasing for the second half of the day throughout the overnight hours as well, as our temperatures fall down to the middle and the upper 70s, remaining warm and muggy. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by Two Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to twomenandatruck.com. twomenandatruck.com.
Folks, you must visit Angie's Fresh Produce. 4447 Long Beach Road, Southport. Beautiful fresh produce at a great price. Angie's has just about every vegetable you want. In-store shopping and pickup, and all wheelchair accessible. Call Angie's Fresh Produce at 910-477-9068.
Folks, the sad truth of it is most of what we're seeing in the news cycle is just noise, and it's recycled noise at that. Nothing informative, nothing that actually helps us discern the times that we live in. That's why we started doing Heard Tell. Every morning right here on Big Talker Network, 7 a.m. with a replay at 3 p.m., we talk and discuss the issues of the day, culture and politics with knowledgeable guests, no yelling, no caterwauling, just grown folk talk about the issues that matter. Join me, Andrew Donaldson, every weekday morning for Heard Tell.
O'Leary's Automotive Repair has multiple locations in the area in Hampstead, Leland, the Myrtle Grove area, Ogden, and Wrightsboro. O'Leary's Automotive Repair, a trusted, locally owned business since 2006.
Oh, just trying to get comfortable here. Welcome back to the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad, right here on the Big Talker Network. BigTalker.live. Please download the app for Android and iOS devices. You'll love it. It's a way of life. Man. Man. Still very upset about that whole give me money thing. I guess that's the quality that we would like to encourage in our upcoming generations, right? Hopefully they would be self-sustaining, and I think that's a failure on the parent. If you've raised a 50-year-old man that's on a crime spree, leaves Texas, comes to Charlotte, and decides to steal 4 cars, crash them all, yeah, just put him to sleep. Just bury him. I mean, at some point, there needs to be, because of the extremism of human behavior, the extremism of handling human behavior needs to match. Don't you think? Right? I mean, if somebody's going to be this heinous and just out of nowhere decide to terrorize and damage and destroy and everything else, then maybe we should return the favor. Right? I mean, a lot of people are going to have to deal with what you dealt. We're not allowed to punch people anymore for being stupid. I don't know why that stopped. I mean, keyboard warriors themselves are probably the worst example of that. But this is why I shouldn't be doing a morning show. Because I hate all these people and really think they are not being held to account. I mean, certainly our politicians are seldom held to account. And yet we got to pay for it, either in our taxes or in our daily life somehow. Something has been messed up. Ben Hooper, thank you. UPI coming out of Japan. Penguins unimpressed with Japanese aquariums' shift to cheaper fish. Yeah, it's kind of like here in America. We get to a cheaper formula from other companies and suddenly the whole week falls apart. Whatever. July 8th. Japanese aquarium said it is trying to switch its penguins' diet to a cheaper kind of fish as a result of inflation, but the birds are being uncooperative. I am not going to pronounce this right. Officials at the Hakonen, I want to say Harkonnen, like from Dune, but aquarium southwest of Tokyo said they switched the penguins from their usual diet of aji, also known as Japanese horse mackerel, to a cheaper variety of mackerel after the price of aji spiked nearly 30% over last year. A video filmed at the aquarium shows the penguins stubbornly refusing to accept offerings of the cheaper fish from keepers. Even if they'll take it in their beaks, they'll just spit it out. Hiroki Shimamoto, the head zookeeper at the aquarium, told Vice World News. Aquarium workers said the penguins will begrudgingly eat the cheaper fish if it is mixed with some aji. Ideally, they would like to have a full aji, but they are patiently eating mackerel. Shimamoto told TV Asahi. Keepers say the facility's otters have also shown a preference for aji over the cheaper fish. We could raise the admission fee to the aquarium and fix this issue, but we would like to do our best to keep our facility a comfortable place for our guests to visit. We do not plan on raising admission prices. Now, I mean, if that's 90% of your diet, you can't, you can't jack with their diet. That's the only thing they eat. And as long as you got them in some sort of captivity and give them no opportunity to hunt or choose their own meals, and it's not like you were serving a filet mignon to begin with. You went from McDonald's. Okay, not McDonald's. You went from McAllister's to White Castle, McDonald's, and and that's all they're going to eat for the rest of their lives. That's all they get. No, they're not going to be happy. Look, the one thing that's going to make my life not a miserable hellhole is decent food. And if you can't do that, we're not going to be happy. Oh, I really hate this website. In fact, I hate this whole company. And I may just have to skip this story because they're being such a pain in the ass. All right. No. Okay, not happening. It was going to be a nice little story, but Fox News sucks. Your website sucks. Not playing. No more Fox News. Fox News is banned from my machine. Fox News is banned from my entire existence anymore. We'll try this again. I got a better story coming from Insider anyway. And this is more asylum-ready news. The other one was a feel-good story about a tooth fairy and a young girl and an airline pilot. However, Fox News decided to ruin that. So instead, Julia Naftalin is going to tell you about, It's going to tell you about a 50-year-old man who heard his penis crack during sex with his wife and was subsequently diagnosed with eggplant deformity. So that eggplant emoji is not a joke. Doctors diagnosed a man with a rare penile condition called eggplant deformity after he injured his penis during sex, causing it to swell and turn purple. Eggplant deformity is a rare condition that typically happens when an erect penis experiences blunt trauma during sex, like slipping out of a partner and bending against their. In severe cases, the resulting swelling from the trauma can block a person's urinary tract. If left untreated, eggplant deformity can lead to impotence and permanent deformity. In a case study in the International Journal of Surgery case reports, the doctors who diagnosed the man detailed the events leading up to the mishap and how they treated him for a full recovery. The man who lived in Indonesia came to the hospital after his bit was swollen and uncomfortable for 4 hours. He told his doctors his thing swelled after he had been with his wife during the bit. He felt a crack in his bit. He went away, didn't finish his job, and his urethra started to bleed. When doctors examined the man's bit, they found a hematoma or blood clot that ran from the tip to the end and a ruptured urethra, which, if left untreated, can block urinary flow. They diagnosed the man with eggplant deformity and prepared him for surgery. To treat the man, the doctors sliced him open to pull back the outer skin so they could repair his broken urethra and erectile tissue with absorbable stitches. They also cut open his scrotum to drain the hematoma, and they found during the initial exam. After surgery, they tested the man's by giving him an artificial erection since he didn't have any complications like fluid leakage or curved penis. The doctor sent to rest at the hospital for 5 days during this time, and for the next 3 weeks at home, doctors told the man to pee through a catheter they inserted into his urethra. If anybody has ever had a catheter, it is very uncomfortable and incredibly limiting. At a telemedicine checkup 4 months later, the man told doctors he was pleased with their work and that he could have an enjoyable life with his wife with no pain, which is good to know. So if you hear a crack, or if you've ever experienced that sort of that kind of drama, and I don't know if it's a deformity as it is a oops. Mm-hmm. It's good to know there are things that we can repair even after the fact. Isn't that awesome? Still got an hour to go. Might throw some music at you here in a minute. A day in history. How crazy is this? 1772, Captain James Cook begins second voyage aboard the Resolution to the South Seas to search for Terra Australis, the southern continent. 1832, source of the Miami River discovered by American geographer Henry Schoolcraft. 1923, the Hollywood land sign is officially dedicated in the hills above Hollywood, Los Angeles. It originally reads Hollywood Land, if you didn't know that, loser. But the four last letters are dropped after renovations in 1949. Which is 6 years after our next event in 1943. The greatest tank battle in history ends with Russia's defeat of Army of Germany at Kursk. Almost 6,000 tanks take part, 2,900 lost by Germany. And in 1966, this one's going to knock you out. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada founds the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, the Hare Krishna movement, in New York City. If you're going to do something whack, do it in New York. Some of these things just can't be right? So I'm checking. I have to make sure I haven't done anything wrong here. Nope. Hey, anybody else getting scam callers? I decided to have fun with one yesterday. Called me while I had a minute. He wants to help me with my Discover card. So the message was obviously a pre-recorded Siri-sounding voice. Here to help with your Discover card, please press 1 for more to be connected to one of our concerned agents or whatever. And I was like, I had nothing else to do. It's a fished number anyway. All right, I'll press 1. What you got? Good evening. How can I help you today? And I'm like, hey, what scam you running? This is one of the assistants at the Discover card. Really? So, what you got? We will help you. Just tell me your credit card. And I'm like, no. You called me. What scam you running? Is this Amazon? What is this? Gift cards? You wanting some Google gift cards? Damn it! What is this? This is not a scam. All right. So, how much money do you want? That threw him off. And after about 5 minutes of banting back and forth, it was like, look, stay out of my country. Just stay the hell out of here. Go scratch dirt or something, learn a marketable skill. But I'm glad that I have wasted 10 or 15 minutes of your time, because that's 10 or 15 minutes that you don't get to scam somebody else. So please, call back. I need to learn some more of their language, which is one of my favorite things. If you've ever watched like Scam Baiters or Jim Browning or any of these guys, man, I highly recommend it. It is awesome. It's like heroes without capes. And if you ever wanted to know how that happens, wow, these guys are pretty smart. And they create an artificial or a virtual machine, if you will. It's a computer inside a computer that doesn't really exist. It only exists as long as the person who owns the major computer allows it. But it behaves just like a regular computer, so the scammer dials into this virtual machine and thinks that he's deleting files when there's no files there, right? And of course, one of the guys is like, yeah, go ahead, smash my system, do what you think you need to do. But the thing is, the scammer doesn't realize that the big machine that's holding the virtual machine has connected back to the scammer's machine and is wreaking havoc. And it is absolutely glorious. Right? Because these guys amass and buy and sell and trade massive phone lists. Right? These people have your number, somewhere along the line, they bought your information. Right? And when they continue to call, they're thinking that you have, some sort of, you're a potential, you're a client, you're a sap, you're a shill. And I think we need more people to become aware of the scams and drive them absolutely crazy. Waste their freaking time. Now, these guys can take it to a whole nother level because of what they've done with their machines and the virtual machine thingy and all that. But it's an absolute glorious, what's the word I'm looking for? Poetic justice to see how they damage these guys left and right. Jim Browning's especially good. I mean, I don't know where he got his training, but this man takes down like 20, 30 computers at a time. But he's patient. He plays the long game, right? So he gets in with one and drops a little Trojan. And then once he's got into one, he can use that to sort of weasel his way into the other machines, dropping little Trojans all along the way. And at some point, he's got 20, 30 machines, all with the same virus on it, and he's sitting there taking all their data. Then he launches the virus, and the virus pretty much destroys the machine. By the time that virus is activated, even turning off the machine, you're not bringing that computer back. It's gone. Because without an operating system, you're done. And that's what this thing does, is it just literally eats right through the boot block. Everything about the kernel, everything about the operating system, everything that makes the drive a hard drive. Next time the computer boots, it looks at the hard drive saying, hey, do you want me to format? And the thing is, it won't even get that far. You have to boot off of a USB or a floppy disk because there's no operating system. It can't, the drive is dead. You have to literally format the drive and start over, and it is absolutely glorious having to do that for 30 computers at a time. It's awesome. And he goes after the individual guys, get their webcam connected, and then fry them from there. Oh, look. Mommy, here's your son running scams out of Kolkata, India. Yeah, the part that got the guy was like, he was, because the message was clearly about Discover card. I don't have any credit cards. I have all the credit of a rock and roll guitar player who got raked over the coals by an ex-wife. All right, so go ahead. What credit card are you trying to fix? You're trying to help me with whatever, my credit card. Which one? Oh, really? A Discover card? When did I get a Discover card? Didn't know I had one. Well, it's good to know that somebody in Kolkata, India with the IQ of a cannoli knows more about my credit cards than I do. And he was adamant about it. I was like, okay, what's the credit card number? Well, that's on the file. You must verify that with me. I trust you about as much as gas station sushi, buddy. And it's not necessarily about the accent. I've worked with professionals that have been or are from other countries, including India. And you can generally tell when the person is in their vein, right? When they're being a decent human being, regardless of their background or beginnings, origins. Or when somebody's just trying everything they can to scam you. And that's what this guy was trying to do. So if you just keep calling him out, hey, what scam is this? Let's just cut through the chase. I don't want to go through all the crap. Do you need gift cards? Because I can get a couple of $50 gift cards. That's not a problem. I just don't want to go through the BS of you being a lying sack of crap. So why don't you just, be honest with me right now, and you got a better chance. Kind of like the guy walking up and down the street trying to ask me for $1. Look, just be honest. You're a sorry sack of crap with no marketable skills, and you're expecting me to pay for your life. If you're going to at least be honest about that, you got a better shot at getting anything out of me. But if you're going to come at me with some other crap like, oh, it's unfortunate. No. It was unfortunate. I lost my job. I've been laid off and survived. Not once have I stood on a street corner saying, give me money. Times got that tight. I went into the nearest restaurant with a kitchen and said, hey, you need some help washing dishes, mopping floors, and emptying trash, whatever it takes. I got to pay some bills here, buddy. And my parents raised me with a greater sense of shame that standing on a street corner begging for money is the worst thing possible. Absolutely heinous. To not be self-sustaining, self-supportive in some manner, some way. Even if it's washing dishes, serving ice cream, flipping burger, whatever the hell it takes. But standing on a street corner or begging people for money as they walk down the street in downtown, no. They should just be shipped off and dropped in a hole somewhere. Y'all can beg each other. Because if you don't want to develop a marketable skill on your own, not my fault. That one had nothing to do with me. At all. All right. Let's go ahead and do it early. And I'll see if I can get anybody else online here. Where are all my friends? Oh, computer. Even with everything plugged in, come on. Just got asked to do a gig, and I wish I could, kind of, really, in a way, to do a gig in Bald Head Island. And I'm guessing it's a special event because one of the stipulations to taking this gig is I must wear all white. I just want to let you know, straight up in all honesty, I would look awful damn strange mixing sound on Bald Head Island wearing nothing but socks and underwear. Because I have nothing else that's white. Yeah, I mean, that's like somewhere I think I have a tuxedo. I know I have one suit. I have a couple of suit jackets, like a sports coat and one of those Electric Avenue jobs. But I do not have an all-white outfit, nor do I have white shoes. There's nothing about my life that works well with white. Can I just say that? When you're running sound, you're not going to remain pure white clothing at all. Just not going to happen. Just whatever ridiculousness is in your head obviously is a life of entitlement where you never have to get dirty. Running sound is a dirty job. I get cable funk all over me, mostly on my pants, the sides of my shirt, and my hands and forearms. Because that's normally where the cables are whipping around as I'm trying to extract them from whatever venue I'm in. So, you know, I get it, having to put on a costume. I mean, I'm going to Bald Head Island to perform this Friday. I have to put on a costume. Thank goodness it's not all white, because that wouldn't go over very well. Because I don't have all white outfit. Certainly not white shoes. I mean, that's like one of the most lounge lizard creepy things ever. Anytime I see somebody wearing white shoes, I'm like, oh man, no. No. White loafers or white dress shoes or whatever. It's like, nah, man. You have children you don't even know about. So, yeah, that's going to be... I hope they do find somebody. I mean, I'm busy during the day and won't be able to make the gig, but at the first time wearing white, goodness. All white for a gig that's going to be mucky dirty. What are these people thinking? But it is a marketable skill, and thankfully I have enough work and a high enough skill level that people call me, and I have the option of, you know, accepting or not accepting work based on what it is I can and can't do. Right, or able to do, right? I mean, I could mix the sound, that's not a problem, but if I can't wear, you know, I mean, I have some decent clothes, but I don't want to wear them to a gig as a sound guy. It's the only suit I got. Why am I going to trash it for a $100 gig? Are you kidding me? After 10 hours? No. That one is just not a very good design all the way around. I can understand the band. They're performing. They're in front of everybody. My job is to not be seen. My job is to just make things louder. I'm not in front of anybody. I'm going to be behind you or within you, you know, running around within your crowd or whatever, trying to make it sound good. But, yeah, I'm just not designed for this gig. I think I'm going to skip that one. Oh, you know, I have to. It's all about scheduling, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, I do have some scheduling here. So with that in mind, yep. We are going to be right back after these messages. Right here on the Asylum. Come on, drop that beat. There it is. We'll be right back here on the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad, right here on the Big Talker Network. Please take this opportunity to peruse our website, our schedule of content, as well as downloading the app for Android, iOS devices. Don't forget you can share all of this with your friends, families, neighbors, and even the people you don't like. Maybe it would help. A little education goes a long way. Be right back. You're tuned in to the Big Talker Network, Wilmington, North Carolina's premier internet station for news and talk radio programming. Find us online at bigtalker.live.
Folks, the sad truth of it is most of what we're seeing in the news cycle is just noise, and it's recycled noise at that. Nothing informative, nothing that actually helps us discern the times that we live in. That's why we started doing Heard Tell. Every morning right here on Big Talker Network, 7 a.m. with a replay at 3 p.m., we talk and discuss the issues of the day, culture and politics with knowledgeable guests, no yelling, no caterwauling, just grown folk talk about the issues that matter. Join me, Andrew Donaldson, every weekday morning for Heard Tell.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. 2 people are facing charges after leading law enforcement officers on a chase through several counties overnight. According to the Sampson County Sheriff's Office, a blue box truck was first reported stolen Tuesday. Last night, deputies spotted the stolen vehicle and tried to stop it. Officers pursued the truck into Pender and Columbus counties. The suspect then drove into Bladen County and pulled into the driveway of a home. A man and woman were arrested. We are working to learn more details. Now an update to a story regarding an effort to ban nude bathing at a local beach. Last night, Topsail Beach's town attorney shared ordinances from other beach towns and the state's general statute on indecent exposure. Only Commissioner Tim Zizak participated in the discussion with the attorney. After a long silence, the commissioners made their decision not to move forward with the ordinance. North Carolina now has at least 10 confirmed cases of monkeypox. In New Hanover County, health officials are encouraging you to know the signs and symptoms of the rare disease. Monkeypox symptoms include fever, muscle aches, chills, and a rash on the face and body, including inside the mouth. The disease can be spread through person-to-person direct contact with the infectious rash, scabs, or body fluids. It's rarely fatal, but New Hanover County's pandemic operations team manager says the bumps can be painful and take 2 to 4 weeks to heal. And in Pender County, a woman's lifelong dream has finally become an artful reality. Clara Sue Sullivan is a self-taught artist. She's 83 years old and has always wanted to have a formal showing of her artwork. Sullivan's hospice care team made the dream possible at the Pender County Library. Growing up, art was an expensive hobby her family couldn't really afford, but a teacher encouraged her not to give up. She's encouraging others to follow that same message. For more on these stories, you can head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with your Storm Track 3 forecast. Get ready for a bit of an unsettled afternoon in the Cape Fear. High temperatures won't be as hot as it was on Wednesday, climbing into the upper 80s to near 90 away from the coast. Middle 80s for those coastal areas later this afternoon, with our chances for showers and storms increasing for the second half of the day throughout the overnight hours as well, as our temperatures fall down to the middle and the upper 70s, remaining warm and muggy. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by 2 Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to 2menandatruck.com. 2menandatruck.com.
This show is also sponsored by Dr. Tony Maglione. Dr. Tony is a cardiologist practicing in Wilmington. He accepts Medicare patients, and his office is located across the street from New Hanover Regional Medical Center at 2032 17th Street. The office number is 202-1071. Dr. Tony is an author whose last book is Rules for Conservative Patriots, and it can be purchased on Amazon. His website is www.drtonymag.com.
Teachers and parents, the North Carolina Symphony is here to support you as you carry on the education of your children and students. Take your kids on a free virtual field trip to the Symphony with a virtual education concert and companion student book. Go on a virtual journey to learn what makes music music, with music by William Grant Still, Beethoven, Brahms, and more. Access the free video and student book with password 1932 at ncsymphony.org/virtual.
Listen to Tom Goolsbee on The Chad Adams Show.
People with common sense know that the entire theory of socialism is one big lie.
The Big Talker 106.7 FM.
Hey, welcome back to the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad, right here on the Big Talker Network. BigTalker.live is the website. If you haven't, you should peruse it. Download the app for Android and iOS devices, as well as other really cool things you can do. Peruse our schedule of content. Oh, man, yeah, and let's see, what else can you do? Send us an email with any compliments, questions, comments, concerns, or critiques you may have. We cannot improve without your help. Sounds like we went off the air, but it didn't. I timed it perfectly. All right. So I had an interesting mind bend with a couple of people last night discussing mistakes. How's that for crazy? As children, we kind of capitalize on each mistake as a learning moment, a teaching moment. Right? And depending on what it is as a mistake and the growth age of a person, we look at these mistakes differently, depending on who's committing them. And for example, in one instance, there's a woman who's very upset with the police because her son is dead. However, it was her son's decision to sell cocaine, run away from the police, lose control of his vehicle because he doesn't know what he was doing. He wasn't wearing his seatbelt, so he was thrown out of the car. And then the car flipped and landed on top of him, killing him. Cops had nothing to do with it. The cops were just trying to prevent crime by arresting this guy for selling drugs. So his mistake, not the police fault. That was his decision, that's his mistake, and unfortunately, he will not learn from it. But if we make a mistake in policy, or if we make a mistake in speech, chances are you're going to get crucified. Now, some things make sense, like if you're covering something up, or when something is discovered that was trying to remain hidden, that can be problematic. We had that with our with the Wilmington mayor recently. He had a opponent that actually had a little bit of traction behind him until it was discovered he was a heinous, horrible human being, and the entire community took reevaluated, took stock in their opinion, and said, "Wait a minute, maybe we should just slow the roll here a little bit." Another mistake, a lot of people were upset and wanted me to feel all bad for the guy. This one's got a couple of more components that touch home. One, the police were trying to pull him over for driving while intoxicated because his driving was rather erratic. It was late at night after the bars had closed. The other element is that the man was on a motorcycle. Being drunk on a motorcycle is stupid. Being drunk on a motorcycle eluding police is even stupider. You want to know? It gets even worse. Yeah. So the guy's running away from the cops. He turns off his lights. I don't know how. I mean, most motorcycles, the headlight is wired. You turn on the bike, the light is on, period, right? I don't know how this guy managed to put in a little stealth switch, which is, obviously not for upstanding purposes, right? Why else would you want to black out your car, your motorcycle, your ride, whatever? So, yeah, he blacked out his bike. He's going super high speeds on, Carr Avenue, when it was still under construction. Did not see the big bulldozer with its blade down in front of him. He smashed into it doing like 60, 65 miles an hour and was killed immediately upon impact. And everybody's all brokenhearted. Are you serious? The man made his bed. Had he been a decent human being to begin with, he would not have, getting drunk is not a problem. Getting on your bike drunk is a problem. Avoiding the police when drunk is a problem. Avoiding the police, turning off your lights while riding a motorcycle in the dark in a construction zone, it just got stupider and stupider and stupider. Should we feel sorry for the person? No. Should we crucify him? I think he's completely open game for that. On the other side of the coin, we make mistakes that are maybe not necessarily inconsequential, like playing a wrong note. But if you play a wrong note at the right time, boy, does that, you get crucified for that. Get it? So being held to account for what we do and the mistakes we made can be used as teaching moments, learning moments, educational moments, until the person has gone to the point that there is no learning left to do, right? I mean, you're dead. You smashed your bike right into a bulldozer in the middle of the night with the lights out on your motorcycle while hammered. I'm not, sorry, I ain't got nothing for you. I was invited to the service, and I'm like, that's not anybody I know. My friends wouldn't do that. We want to hold our political people to a higher standard, but we can't even hold ourselves to a decent standard. And there is no standard left when you reach that level of power, because these people are just all playing a game of trying to get away with it, just like the coke dealer down the street. He feels powerful. He gets high, not from the drugs. He's getting high from the fact he's getting away with something. Just like our politicians. Right? Cawthorn didn't care that you were mad. He was high on the fact that he could do stuff like that. Like, it was his attempt. It was his high to try and sneak a handgun onto an airplane. It was his high to try and outsmart the police by driving on a suspended license. When you have power and you're untouchable, you do stuff because you no longer have that. You're looking for any kind of thrill. Right? Same is true with the clergy, right? I mean, or I should say 3 of the major religious organizations are under fire for all kinds of sexual misconduct. No accountability. They just shuffled them from what do they call them? Congregation to congregation. Parish to parish. That's it. Like a 3-card Monte game. They were never addressed for their mistakes. Some of them can be addressed, repaired, right? Atoned. You can ask Dr. Nasser, or former Dr. Nasser. So at some point, holding people to account and addressing their mistakes can only benefit us. It can only be helpful to us. Why can't we do that? What's the problem? And why are people letting people get away with it? It's not necessarily to hear something, say something. But if we're going to hold our people, our politicians, to a higher standard, we need to hold ourselves to that same standard. As Bill Moore put it from the Brunswick County GOP, we get the government we deserve. We voted for them. They are the reflection of who we are. So when our president, whether the last one, the one before him, or the current one, shows up in a foreign country representing us, you, me, are you embarrassed? I am now. I was then. I wasn't way then. A decorum is a lot to do with it. Of course, there's a lot that we don't know about that's happening through all of this. Because it's a matter of national security. Right? You can just stamp that on anything and make it secret. It's kind of like stamping Mercedes on an auto part and costing 3 times as much. Right? These aren't just spark plugs. These are Mercedes spark plugs. Same thing with boat or aviation. Right? You can have a carburetor that works on a 57 Chevy, no problem, but you can't put it in an airplane even though it works. Nope, it's not rated for aviation. In some cases, that makes sense. In other cases, it's just being stupid. Like, we had lots of jokes about the toilet seats and the hammers from the government. Some of that was made up. Some of that was pretty legit. The hammer situation was a particular type of hammer. It had to be weighed and shaped appropriately for the task. It was a specialty hammer. It's not like they make these things by the millions. They make them one at a time, and that's why it's expensive. The toilet seat, however, was, as it turned out to be, basically a grift, where somebody got somebody, his buddy got a buddy, given a contract to provide toilet seats for the, I think it was like military barracks or something like that. So they sold a whole box of these things for the cost of like $15. I don't know. It was sad. It was sad. It was embarrassing. We learned from it. Apparently not too much, but that's sort of the point. I mean, when is it a mistake and when is it a crime? And how can you work between the two, right? Like the 14-year-old who tried stealing a car, failed miserably, maybe he should be educated. But a career criminal at 37 years old, or this guy, 50 years old from Texas, I think it was, right, came to Charlotte, North Carolina, and decided to steal some cars. Oh, I see what's happening. Give me that guy. Give me that story. And I hate that they say that it was a North Carolina man. It was not a North Carolina man. It was a Texas man loose in North Carolina. Oh, I'm sorry. This jackhole was 26 years old. Tyler Harding. Was that a mistake or a crime? He stole 4 cars. How are we going to hold him to account? And it started with a breaking and entering. So he came here from Texas to do nothing more than commit crime. That's not a mistake. That's a crime. And should be thrown in a very deep pit. Now, the guy wandering up and down the side of the street begging you for money, he could use an education. He could use, and maybe this is a conversation I've had with a couple of folks around my age, that shaming was a very real thing, not bullying. There's a difference between bullying and shaming. With a sense of shame, you have your own sense of integrity, your own sense of self, right? You don't want to go out with poop smeared all over your clothes, smelling like you just rolled in some dog park somewhere, right? But we've lost all sense of shame, and if you don't believe me, just visit Walmart at 2 in the morning. I've been to Walmart at 2 in the morning when, during school year, right, during the school season year, whatever academic year, and entire daycares, entire families with like 6, 8 children running through the store at 2 in the morning. Okay, obviously, education is not important to them. Maybe you can argue that it's, maybe their situation is, no. Being a responsible adult has certain parameters to it. If you have children, they are going to school. It is your responsibility to not have them up and wired running around Walmart unleashed at 2 in the morning. This is how we end up with this Texas guy coming to North Carolina and stealing cars and smashing them after trying to break and rob somebody. The more horrible the human being, the more immediate, the more important, I guess. I don't know what the term is, but it should be corrected immediately, forthwith. So maybe shaming would help. I think it corrected a lot of children during my day, because we didn't have near the stupid we had now. We had stupid, don't get me wrong. But we didn't have the stupid to the level we have now. I mean, stupid to the level that we have 20, I think it was, over the 4th of July, 20 mass shootings over the 4th of July weekend alone. Not one of these people was a balanced, level-headed individual. All of them were given participation trophies at some point. Obviously, that didn't work out very well, did it? So greater consequences. Private prison isn't enough, right? And I understand the amnesty people are like, oh, we don't want to kill them. Why not? They're not doing us any good. Now they're just a tax drain on the food and support and everything else, and they pose a danger because they're still violent, right? I mean, how many prison guards have been attacked, killed by people like this? And yet we still allow them to breathe air, eat food, consume tax money. So maybe if we lower that bar, right? Because one of the arguments that they made at the time, which was really cute because it fit on a bumper sticker, why do we kill people who kill people to show people that killing people is wrong? Because it works. And I think we should shame the hell out of the parents, too. Right? I think I think any parent of a shooter should be dragged out in front of the public court and crucified in public. Right? Tyler's parents. Right? What's his name? Tyler Harding? His parents should be pulled out and traipsed across the public saying, this is your son. This is what you raised. Have you no accountability, no integrity, no shame for that which you have wrought on our society? We did fat shaming. It worked on me. Making fun of me when I was a pudgy little kid, right? About, 9, 10 years old, 11 years old, made me cry. And I was like, yeah, we're not going to do that again. And Dad even pointed it out. He's like, look, you can be ugly, but you'll never be fat again. Okay. And that was true at the time. It was true then. There are things we have power over in our own lives. Being a piece of crap is one of them. Being a decent human being is the other. And sometimes we lose track of what's going on. We lose sight of where we are because we are seeing it from inside out as opposed to outside in. And that's why I think it's important to have friends that are going to be honest and at a higher standard who can say, dude, really? That's a kind of shaming. Dude, really? You showed up to a wedding in a Punisher t-shirt? Really? You see how that's different than bullying? That's just bringing somebody stupid to their own attention. It's like, introducing themselves to what it is to be self-aware. So the more we can do that, we just shame a person by showing them what they are and what they're doing in relation to the rest of the world and make them realize you're being a selfish piece of crap. And the only way we can do that really is by shaming. Do you really need to eat all the donuts in the box in one sitting? Really? Really? And with the cost of inflation, yeah, maybe we don't want to change body shape too much because it's going to be expensive replacing the wardrobe. I have the opposite problem. I can't find clothes that fit me, which is why I'm wearing clothes literally from the 1980s. One, they still last. I got jeans that I wore in high school. And second, nobody makes clothes my size. And I don't know what it is with the clothing industry, like Levi and what's the other one? A number of them anywhere I try to buy pants. Because I have a very long inseam, 36 inches. I'm a tall boy. Anytime I find a 36 inseam pair of pants, the waist on it is like 50. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a 29-inch waist. There are no clothes below a 30, and I can pull them off. Like, I need a rope to hold those things up. So even a 30, the longest inseam I can find on a 30 is 32. I have a 36-inch inseam. It doesn't flood like New Orleans here. It seems that the entire country, the entire mindset has enabled us or encouraged us to become larger and less healthy. Which makes sense if you think about it. The larger we get, the more clothes we have to buy because we've outgrown the last ones. And all the medicines that are required to maintain yourself, to maintain a client, a customer, right? My dad lost his mind somewhere in the 70s when the privatized insurance started taking over, and he was like, this is bad. This is all bad. Because we're no longer going to try and heal our patients. We're going to try and get them addicted to treatment. And technically, and this is the part that really boiled his biscuit, is it still falls under the Hippocratic Oath of doing no harm. You're just not doing the best that you can for your patient. You're just not doing harm. So, going back to the 70s, all the way through today, 50 years history of pain medicine, opioid abuse. It's only become an issue lately because it became important to important people. Before then, it was just all a bunch of, faceless, useless, unimportant people that the politicians and government and other leaders deemed, how would you say, undeserving of attention, investigation, or any sort of attention to this. But that's who we are. That's how we behave. Until it's important to somebody, it doesn't matter. And until it matters to somebody important, then it will become important. That is a mistake and a crime. Not necessarily punishable by, fiery death and a bulldozer. But certainly something to say, hey, wait a minute, why are you being quiet about this? And that's one thing that was pointed out on the Heard Tell program, is that there seems to be more softball being played by the journalists. I think Chad mentioned this as well. Because we're trying to get the right answer, the answer that appeases the base that we're appealing to. Because when I'm selling cars, carpets, and candy bars, I don't care what side of the aisle you're coming. I don't care if you're red or blue, as long as your money is green. But we can't seem to figure that out as a society, right? Going back to Bug's Life, with that one grasshopper trying to say, look, the ants outnumber us, and if they ever figure that out, we're in trouble. So the whole trick is to keep them in line, and the two best ways to do that with human beings is with religion and government. And if you have religion in government, then you own the people. You don't believe me? Let's take a little trip down memory lane. Starting around, 1939, moving through the 1940s. A whole bunch of people trying to say that America is a Christian nation. God, I hope not. Get it? Maybe you didn't. It would be nice if we were more spiritually connected, because then we wouldn't be such jackholes to each other. But claiming one religion is better than another is trying to claim that one race is better than another, or one soda is better than another. It's just another form of discrimination and prejudice, just in a different cloak, one that's socially acceptable. Kind of like the conversation between alcohol and drugs. Alcohol, which kills more people, causes more damage, and wreaks more havoc in lives than weed ever will, is legal because it's socially acceptable, because it's legal or whatever. But weed is bad. When the truth is, red or blue, the money is green. And that's the whole secret right there. Does not matter. The money is green. That's the secret. Follow the money, and you will find it everywhere you want to be. You'll find it everywhere you don't want to be. You'll find it in places you don't want it. Anyway, with that in mind, we'll be right back after these messages on the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad. So, hey, do yourself a favor. Don't go nowhere, but visit our website. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. 2 people are facing charges after leading law enforcement officers on a chase through several counties overnight. According to the Sampson County Sheriff's Office, a blue box truck was first reported stolen Tuesday. Last night, deputies spotted the stolen vehicle and tried to stop it. Officers pursued the truck into Pender and Columbus counties. The suspect then drove into Bladen County and pulled into the driveway of a home. A man and woman were arrested. We are working to learn more details. Now an update to a story regarding an effort to ban nude bathing at a local beach. Last night, Topsail Beach's town attorney shared ordinances from other beach towns and the state's general statute on indecent exposure. Only Commissioner Tim Zizak participated in the discussion with the attorney. After a long silence, the commissioners made their decision not to move forward with the ordinance. North Carolina now has at least 10 confirmed cases of monkeypox. In New Hanover County, health officials are encouraging you to know the signs and symptoms of the rare disease. Monkeypox symptoms include fever, muscle aches, chills, and a rash on the face and body, including inside the mouth. The disease can be spread through person-to-person direct contact with the infectious rash, scabs, or body fluids. It's rarely fatal, but New Hanover County's pandemic operations team manager says the bumps can be painful and take 2 to 4 weeks to heal. And in Pender County, a woman's lifelong dream has finally become an artful reality. Clara Sue Sullivan is a self-taught artist. She's 83 years old and has always wanted to have a formal showing of her artwork. Sullivan's hospice care team made the dream possible at the Pender County Library. Growing up, art was an expensive hobby her family couldn't really afford, but a teacher encouraged her not to give up. She's encouraging others to follow that same message. For more on these stories, you can head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with your Storm Track 3 forecast. Get ready for a bit of an unsettled afternoon in the Cape Fear. High temperatures won't be as hot as it was on Wednesday, climbing into the upper 80s to near 90 away from the coast. Middle 80s for those coastal areas later this afternoon, with our chances for showers and storms increasing for the second half of the day throughout the overnight hours as well, as our temperatures fall down to the middle and the upper 70s, remaining warm and muggy. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by 2 Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to 2menandatruck.com. 2menandatruck.com.
Marine Service Pro and the Tackle Box Seafood, located at 8210 River Road, Southport, is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, with the Tackle Box open Monday through Saturday, 7 to 6. Marine Service Pro is a full Suzuki and Tohatsu dealership. They deal in pre-owned boats, full service and repair, with certified technicians in all engines, and fiberglass specialists. The Tackle Box offers fresh local seafood, live bait, a tackle shop, and fish packing and shipping. They also offer a full-service U-Haul dealership. Spend time with Leon or Jenny for one-stop shopping at Marine Service Pro and the Tackle Box Seafood, 8210 River Road, Southport.
Joining Big Talker Network is as easy as asking for it. Program your digital home assistants such as Google Home, Alexa, and Siri to stream Big Talker Network content by simple voice command. Enjoy convenient hands-free access to program whenever you want, however you want by asking for Big Talker.
Welcome back to the Asylum. Whew, these Thursdays are a little rough after such a wonderful gig last night. They're fun to do, but man, I don't get home till 1 in the morning. Then I'm up all bright and early making the shows happen and do the radio program, and then slamming a gallon of coffee down my gullet hole to make sure that I'm alive and awake enough that I can read the words on the screen. Whew, some of those words say, hey, the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad, is back on the Big Talker Network. Please visit the Big Talker website at bigtalker.live. Download the app for Android and iOS devices. You'll love it. It's a way of life. If you Bluetooth your smart device with your automotive entertainment system, you can take the Big Talker anywhere and everywhere you want to be, have to be, gotta be. You can also send us an email with any questions, comments, concerns, critiques, or compliments. We want to be your favorite station on them interwebs. I mean, just look at that app, ladies and gentlemen. Just look at that thing. Ain't nobody else got anything like that, man. That thing is sweet. Everybody should have it. That's how you can enjoy things like Voice and Pen, Guns, Politics, Freedom, All Things Brunswick. The Chad Adams Show. Oh, yes, people, send messages to the Chad Adams Facebook page and say, hey, Chad, why aren't you doing a show? You should be doing a show. That idiot in the morning needs to... Anyway. It'd be fun. I think he does a great job. He knows state politics better than anybody, and he's far more conservative than I am. I'll tell you that much. But a lot of it we agree on. I think that's why we kind of get along. I mean, some of it's a little over the top. I don't ever worship one person. But aside from that, that was a joke, Chad. Probably going to light up my phone here in a minute. But knowing that we have some similar approaches to the way things should be done is certainly a strength, I think, that's going to take this station into the future, even against its own will, maybe even despite itself. And that might be part of the next discussion, is trying to get the right combination of things developed in process and working and whatever else. Because it's such a crazy, crazy opportunity. Oh, good. Perfect. To get your voice, your subject, out on the air. Now, it is kind of weird that y'all got to deal with the fact that I am the de facto programming director. And, I don't want crazy on here. We had crazy on here, and it was annoying. Especially when I had to correct the noisy. It was, we had a bunch of satellite programs, and I would have to go in and fix things and do things, and no. We should concentrate, as we are, on what's happening in southeastern North Carolina, in North Carolina, and then on from there. Now, I'm talking about what happened in Charlotte because a Texas guy came here, or talking about Florida, man, is only to help us develop and understand a relationship with our fellow man in other parts of the country. And why we shouldn't be importing Texans. I mean, I think we need a border around North Carolina to prevent Texans from coming in. How's that? A big high wall. And it should be made out of job applications. Right? Because the other guy's like, I'm new to the area. I have no job. I have no marketable skill. I'm a worthless piece of crap, but I decided to panhandle in your town because they kicked me out of my town. That should be just not allowed. And it gets annoying that we have to deal with that without any sort of recourse, right? And it could be, now this has happened, and I would not put it past, what's his name, Tyler Harding of Elgin, Texas. The guy's like, hey, I need to find a way to be taken care of the rest of my life. How can I get fed and housed and free showers and free soap and free dental care and free health care? Hey, I'm going to commit a string of robberies, carjackings, breaking and entering, resist arrest, and then crash the car, hurt a bunch of people, destroy a bunch of property, and I'm going to live scot-free in a prison for years. I mean, that's 10, 12 years. He doesn't have to do anything. I mean, I'm not saying that life in prison is a whole lot of fun, but if you're trying not to pay for food and housing and clothing, there you go. Perfect. Obviously not one for the military. So why not just panhandle in our, in our area? We love that right here in North Carolina. We want you panhandling right here on the streets and the street corners and stopping people in traffic and bugging them. Hey man, you got $1? Yeah, I got $1. It's in my pocket. And it took me time and effort on my behalf. Now, what are you going to do? You going to do a flip? You going to light yourself on fire? You going to do something to earn that money? Otherwise, leave me alone. Because if you can't perform any kind of service while asking for $1, right? At least the organ grinder had a monkey. And you got a little entertainment if you didn't get pickpocketed. Come on, give me something. Cartwheel? Anything? And putting your Christian message on there isn't going to work with me at all. And staring right into me. He was staring at me trying to do those anime puppy eyes, and I stared right back at him like, yeah? Me, I am on my way to a job. I am going to do some work, and they are going to pay me. And I will use that money to pay for things like food and gas and cigarettes and Mountain Dew and whatever else, coffee and all the stuff that I need. I'm sorry that you were unable or have been unwilling or whatever it is to develop any sort of support, to support yourself. America is the land of opportunity. Go opportune yourself. Get away from me. So yeah, maybe a higher standard for ourselves. Not just our politicians, not just our representatives. And even then, we're obviously not doing a very good job. People like Mark Meadows and Madison Cawthorn and super fancy the people that have never worked a real job in their life. And yet here we are. We elected them. And the people that we elected chose people like that to be on their team. Is that a mistake or a crime? Well, we're discovering it's a crime. It was very much a crime. A lot of crimes being committed. Now, here's the thing that really burns my biscuit is, how is it the law does not apply equally to all people? And the other half of the equation is, why don't all Americans have the same health care as our representatives? Why don't we all have the same security, safety, and protection that our elected representatives have? Are they not replaceable as we are? Is there something special about their blood type that they need better protection than us? And don't try to tell me they're superheroes. I mean, when was the last time Superman needed a bodyguard? Right? And the whole thing about, this person doesn't believe in guns, but they're being escorted by bodyguards with guns. That's the way it works, man. And they don't have a choice about the people walking around them with guns. They are assigned. Now, why they aren't assigned here, I don't know. Right? Recently, there was a pretty heinous crime, and one of the neighbors, it wasn't in our area, thank goodness, I can't remember where it was, but they interviewed a neighbor, and they were like, I see one police officer patrol this neighborhood, in a month. He works from home. He's not going, the person being interviewed is just, stunned. He's like, we live in the police, we pay the city taxes, we are in the city, but the cops don't cruise our neighborhood. Now, they don't cruise the neighborhood because there isn't any crime. Well, the criminals figured that out. Right? Some of the criminals are stupid and they try to commit crimes in high crime areas where people are already committing crime, where crime is already happening, and there's nothing to steal. Then you go to the neighborhoods where there isn't any crime, there's all kinds of stuff to steal. The police are never there. So, yeah. When seconds matter, police are only minutes away. Not necessarily untrue, but it does sort of lay in point, how far away were they when President Reagan was shot, right? They were right there, Jack. Now, of course, that's a visiting dignitary. There's going to be heightened security and more people involved and that sort of thing. That's the whole thing behind the Pope-mobile, right? The bulletproof Pope-mobile. If God's really supposed to protect anybody, I think it'd be him. But even he knows, look, this only goes so far. And there are lots of people that are not constrained. Even the ones who claim to be believers are not constrained by the rules of behavior that are present in their own doctrine. I mean, they had to adopt a moral code because they didn't have one of their own. Right? So now they're going to impose that on everybody else while committing the very heinous crimes that are listed in that to say, hey, don't do this to your fellow man because it's just a bad thing to do. And again, 20 mass shootings on the July 4 weekend alone. At what point does any religion have an impact on our behavior? More than 220 people were shot and killed in the U.S. due to gun violence over the July 4 weekend. Let that sink in. Let's do this again. More than 220 people shot and killed in U.S. due to gun violence over the July 4 weekend. Gun violence spiked over July 4 weekend with shootings reported in nearly every U.S. state that killed a total of 220 people. At least 220 people and wounded close to 570 others, according to the Gun Violence Archive. The database, which collects information about fatalities and injuries linked to incidents involved discharging firearms, updated its records early Tuesday. Published tallies show the number of weekend shootings was almost equal to the number of resulting injuries, with well over 500 instances of shootings documented nationwide between Friday and Monday. There were only 5 states where one or more shootings were not reported in that time frame. Of all gun violence incidents accounted for during the holiday weekend, at least 11 were classified as mass shootings by the Gun Violence Archive. Any situation where 4 or more people, excluding the shooter, are killed or wounded by gunshot is considered a mass shooting. The database lists dyslexia. The database lists 315 mass shootings across the country since the beginning of the year, and roughly 22,500 deaths caused by any form of gun violence. The number of injuries so far traced to gun violence approaches the total death toll. Number of gun violence deaths, 22,419. Homicide, murder, unintentional discharge, gun, 10,000. We're talking thousands of people, 10,000 people, 12,000 people. Number of injuries, 19,336. 314 of them were due to mass shootings. Good Lord. Seeing an increase in gun violence around 4th of July is not rare in the U.S., and this past weekend's report from the Gun Violence Archive mirrored those released in previous years. In 2021, more than 180 people were killed, 516 were injured in shootings that took place during the same holiday weekend. Devastating impacts of gun violence were widespread over the holiday, but certain areas were hit harder than others. In Highland Park, an Illinois suburb about 25 miles north of Chicago, at least 7 people died and more than 24 were wounded in a mass shooting targeting the neighborhood's 4th of July parade. Some of the victims, including at least one child, were in critical condition when they were transported from the scene. About 9 hours after the gunman opened fire at the Highland Park parade, authorities detained a person of interest whom they identified as Robert Cremo III in connection with the shooting. He's not been charged. He has since, because I think this has been... But the Highland Park shooting was far from the only crime involving gun violence in Chicago over the weekend. 8 deaths, 68 injuries from gun violence were confirmed in the city in the days leading up to the 4th of July, as well as on the holiday itself. The victims' ages reportedly ranged from 17 to 90 years old. 220 people killed, 570 wounded. Last year was 180. Some numbers we don't want going up. And it's not the gun. Let's just, it's not the candy bar that caused obesity. It was just the vehicle, right? So banning forks isn't going to do any more to appease obesity than restricting guns is going to stop this. What needs to happen is that we need to be more aggressive on the front end. The kid is already showing psychopathic tendencies at an early age. Maybe we should be paying attention to that. In a number of situations, the parents were such wackadoodles themselves, they decided to homeschool their child. Maybe there should be a, oversight body to seriously look into these at-home schooling and see if there isn't some sort of craziness being, reading, writing, arithmetics, and raffles. Because a lot of the weird mass casualty events have come from people that were, completely isolated in their socialization. And that's where education comes in. Private school is going to put you into an elite category where you have less connection with regular, normal, maybe not so well-to-do people. And that chasm, that separation of these groups is going to end up having a very almost tacit caste system developed if it hasn't already. I mean, maybe I'm just a little late to that party. Very well could be. Believe that. Maybe there are too many guns, but we have too many cars. We have so many cars, people are stealing them. Wait. Boats, right? I mean, where does it go to? And I understand this is somebody pointing this out in my little chat thing here, and they're annoying about it because they're not always wrong. Actually, they're seldom wrong. Mike Rowe's point about education systems encouraging exploration of all paths. Not everybody needs to go to college, even though it's a money-making racket. The communities are starting to notice this and saying, hey, our community college should be offering free education to kids in our community to work in our community, and encourage them to do things like maybe with their hands, repairing cars, building infrastructure, designing bridges and roads or building them, learning how to weld properly, right? Because a number of catastrophes have happened because people weren't paying attention to things like welding. And if you don't weld your bridge correctly, it's going to come down. And had these people had some sort of socialization and hobby interests developed through education, right? They would have been less likely, less bored, more preoccupied with other important things than to go shooting up a parade or stealing cars and crashing them in Charlotte. Just about every one of these criminals of heinous nature, and even some softer, can be led directly to an atrocious upbringing by horrible parents that should not have had children in the first place. We require a license for a gun. We require a license for an aircraft, or we require a license for a vehicle. All of these things can impact other people's lives, but there's absolutely no oversight when raising children. Certainly, to include the homeschooling, where they're trying to keep people out of society, that should be a red flag right there. Maybe I'm wrong. Not always is that going to happen. True. But is it worth the risk? 220 dead in a 4-day period in one weekend because it was a holiday. At this rate, we're not going to have parades anymore. Who's going to show up at the Christmas tree lighting, when just about every jackhole in the audience or in the crowd is carrying? And just think about it. If good guy with a gun, bad guy with a gun, but there's a bunch of good guys with guns, but they're not sure which one's the bad guy, caps start popping off. Because everybody wants to be a hero. And anybody with a gun now suddenly wants to be a hero. They're just waiting for their opportunity to show their skills. That's kind of worrisome. And even scarier are the ones that, they're big and gruff and bully guys anyway, and then they have to strap on a gun to be even more intimidating? No. Here's my thing. If you're intimidating in any way, shape, or form, I don't want to be around you. Because that's not my vibe, man. That harsh is my vibe all the way around. Now, there are times I have to be firm when doing a production, right? When working with a crew that may not be used to working with me, and I have to make sure that people understand that my standard is not your standard. If you're working for me, you're working for my standard. I will treat you well, I will feed you well, I will pay you well. But I'm not going to let you slack. I'm not going to let you sit there and do the entire show or pay you at a gig to be on your cell phone the whole time. I will rip you a new one. But if you do your job, and I do my job, and we have a great production, we have no problem. But if you try and intimidate your way to anything, either to me or a client or a performer or an artist or anything, you're done. I don't want you there. And we need to learn how to do that more actively in our personal lives and in our social lives. Look, dude, that's unacceptable to me. Please go away. We need to be more comfortable, as my buddy Johnny would say, getting in touch with our inner no. No, I don't want to do that. No, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to accept that. My house, my rules. I can close the door. And if I'm somewhere and you're bullying me and it's not my home, I have a car. I can leave. All right, that tells me that if I'm going to hit this clock correctly, I better get myself in gear and let y'all know that the Asylum will be back in the morning. Right here at 8 o'clock, following her tell at 7. Stay tuned for Consumer Choice Radio. Guns, politics, freedom, all things Brunswick, some voice and pen, and when radio was. So we will see you all tomorrow. Thanks. You're tuned in to the Big Talker Network, Wilmington, North Carolina's premier internet station for news and talk radio programming. Find us online at bigtalker.live.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick.